Have you ever paused to consider the pivotal people who truly shaped your journey? The ones who didn't just give advice, but genuinely helped you find your own way, maybe even by asking some tough questions.
Yeah. Those crucial figures.
Exactly. Today, we're doing a deep dive into exactly that, the profound world of mentoring and developing others.
A really vital topic.
It is. And our insights today, they're drawn largely from the extensive work of George Bickerstaff. He's a global leader with deep experience across healthcare, tech, finance. Quite the
It
background.
really brings a unique perspective.
He does. And he makes this compelling case that mentoring isn't just, a kind gesture. It's actually a strategic investment with real, measurable returns.
And that strategic angle is precisely what we want to explore. I mean, in a world changing as fast as ours, with all this complexity, strong mentorship isn't some nice to have. It's becoming a necessity, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. For individuals and for organizations to adapt and thrive.
Right. It reminds me of that Steven Spielberg quote, something like, "The delicate balance of mentoring someone is not creating them in your own image, but giving them the opportunity to create themselves."
Oh, that's good. That really captures it.
It does. So our mission today really is to unearth those specific nuggets from Bickerstaff's work. The insights that show how mentoring unlocks potential, how it fosters that unique growth, and crucially, how it preserves that vital institutional knowledge. That last part's key.
Okay, so let's unpack this then. We kind of have a general idea of mentoring, but what exactly does Bickerstaff define it as?
Sure.
Beyond just, telling someone what to do.
Well, he frames it fundamentally as a relationship, one built on trust, guidance, and real growth.
So less about just instruction.
Much less. More about strategic listening, really hearing someone, challenging their assumptions gently, and empowering them to think deeply, to act wisely on their own terms.
And it doesn't have to be a formal program, right? You mentioned it can be informal too.
Exactly. It could be structured, sure, but it could just as easily be a casual chat over coffee or maybe a quick video call check-in. Bickerstaff really emphasizes that the setting isn't the main thing.
It's the intention and presence, as he puts it.
That's the core. And he notes that the best mentors offer perspective, definitely, from their experience, but they're careful, very careful, not to overshadow the mentee's own voice.
That's a fine line to walk.
It is. And here's something powerful he points out. The best mentorships, they're mutual. Mentors actually grow a lot through the act of mentoring.
That's often overlooked, isn't it?
Completely. And mentees, through their own striving and breakthroughs, they often end up inspiring their mentors right back. It's a two-way street.
That idea of mutual growth,
Yeah.
it really resonates. So if we connect that to the bigger picture, how does Bickerstaff see developing others impacting organizations?
Well, this is where it gets really interesting from a strategic standpoint. He argues pretty strongly that talent development isn't just some HR function or a feel-good thing.
It's a differentiator.
A primary differentiator, yes. Leaders who actively cultivate others are essentially building resilience into their entire organization. Think about it, that's crucial for succession planning.
Makes sense. You need that pipeline.
Absolutely. And for fostering genuine innovation, not just incremental improvements, and also for maintaining what he calls cultural continuity.
Cultural continuity.
Yeah,
So passing on the values and norms, not just the technical skills.
exactly that. Across generations of leaders. And the impact is pretty direct. Teams with access to good mentoring, they are consistently more engaged, more confident,
And more loyal, I bet.
demonstrably more loyal, yes, which of course directly impacts retention. People stay where they feel seen, valued, genuinely supported. It creates this positive cycle.
Like that saying, great leaders don't just rise, they lift.
That captures it perfectly. They lift others as they rise.
So, okay, we understand what it is and why it's important, but how does this actually, come to life in practice?
Yeah.
Bickerstaff suggests it's not just one model, right?
Definitely not. It's not one size fits all. He talks about several forms.
Right. So you've got your traditional mentorship. That's the classic one we picture.
Yeah,
Experienced leader guiding someone less experienced.
the standard model, yeah.
But then there's peer mentorship. I find this one really interesting. Colleagues at similar levels supporting each other, sharing the load, the wins.
That can be incredibly powerful, especially navigating complex projects or organizational politics together.
Totally. I remember a peer mentor being a lifesaver on a tricky project once, just having someone who got it at the same level. Then there's reverse mentorship.
Ah, yes, that one always gets attention.
It's fascinating. Younger or more junior folks sharing insights upwards with senior leaders, often on things like new tech, digital trends, maybe even workplace culture shifts.
Think about a junior analyst maybe schooling an exec on TikTok strategy or a new AI tool.
Exactly. It kind of democratizes knowledge flow.
I'm gonna
And finally, he mentions group mentorship.
Right. That could be in cohorts, learning circles, roundtables. Basically, multiple people learning and growing collectively.
So lots of different flavors.
And Bickerstaff really stresses that this variety isn't just for convenience, it's strategic. Each type offers unique value.
So smart organizations should encourage multiple pathways.
Absolutely. It's about creating an ecosystem where these different forms can flourish depending on the need. Maybe group mentoring works best for rolling out a new skill across a department.
While traditional one-on-one is better for a specific career crossroads.
Precisely. But regardless of the structure, Bickerstaff brings it back to the core, building trust, sharing wisdom, and fostering that collective growth. The how might change, but the what remains constant.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, but let's get into the person. What makes a truly effective mentor, according to Bickerstaff? It's got to be more than just being successful yourself, surely.
Oh, much more. He highlights several key qualities, but with some interesting nuances. Empathy, naturally.
Of course. Understanding where someone's coming from.
Yes, but he adds this idea of empathetic imagination. Being able to sort of project yourself into the mentee's potential future, their possibilities.
Interesting twist.
What else? Humility. Hugely important. Not making it all about the mentor story, letting the mentee's needs drive things. Patience, realizing growth takes time. It's not instant.
Definitely need patience.
Then integrity. That's the bedrock for trust, for giving honest feedback. And finally, curiosity. A mentor who stays genuinely curious about the mentee, about their journey. They keep learning too.
So it's less about having all the answers.
Much less. It's more about asking the right questions, the insightful questions, and really walking alongside someone as they figure out their own path.
That distinction feels critical. And these qualities must tie into feedback, right? That's always a tricky area.
It's perhaps the most critical element, according to Bickerstaff. He sees feedback as the absolute fuel for growth. But, and this is a big but, only when it's delivered with real care and received with openness.
Easier said than done sometimes.
Absolutely. He stresses that mentors must create these safe spaces, environments where feedback isn't feared as judgment, but welcomed as a genuine opportunity.
So what does good constructive feedback look like in his view?
It needs to be timely, not months later. Specific, not vague generalities. Focused on observable behaviors or outcomes. Crucially, not on the person's identity or character. That's a key distinction.
You handled that client meeting well by doing X rather than you're a good negotiator.
Exactly. And it should highlight both strengths, reinforcing what's working, and clear opportunities for growth. Give that balanced perspective.
And what about the mentee's role in this?
Equally important is fostering self-reflection. Mentors should explicitly encourage mentees to evaluate their own progress, consider the feedback objectively, and set their own benchmarks for improvement.
So it's a dialogue. External input, internal reflection.
That's where the real lasting growth happens. It's about empowering the mentee to own their development journey.
So, taking all this, what does it mean for actually building this kind of culture within an organization today? A sustainable culture of growth.
Well, Bickerstaff really hammers home this idea of creating a culture of mentorship, where people aren't just seen as resources, but as long-term investments.
That doesn't just happen organically, I imagine.
Not usually. It has to start at the top. Senior leaders need to actively model mentorship, make it visible, make it a core responsibility, not just something squeezed in.
So lead by example.
Absolutely. HR and talent teams can facilitate formal programs. Sure, that helps. But Bickerstaff argues it's just as vital that informal mentoring is encouraged, even celebrated.
And where does that thrive?
It thrives in places where feedback is just normal, part of the daily flow, where showing a bit of vulnerability isn't career suicide, and where learning is genuinely cheered on, not just assessed in reviews.
He calls this a multiplier strategy, right? What does he mean by that?
It means it's not just additive, like 1 + 1 = 2. It's exponential. One act of good mentorship inspires and equips others who then mentor others. So it ripples outwards. Like that example. A senior exec mentors a director, sharing not just strategy, but how to mentor effectively. That director then feels equipped and inspired to mentor, say, 2 managers.
Okay, I see.
And those managers, seeing the benefit and having some tools, start guiding their junior team members, maybe informally. What started as one formal link becomes this whole network.
The multiplying the leadership capacity.
Precisely. It transforms the system, not just individuals. Which also brings up another challenge. How do we do this effectively with, what, 5 generations now in the workforce? All with different expectations.
That's a huge point, bridging those generational divides.
It is. And Bickerstaff sees mentorship as a prime tool for exactly this. Younger professionals often prioritize purpose, flexibility, maybe faster feedback loops.
While more experienced pros bring that deep expertise, historical context.
Perspective shaped by seeing cycles come and go. Mentorship allows for knowledge transfer in both directions. It's not just senior teaching junior.
So the reverse mentoring idea becomes really important here.
Critical. Imagine the value exchange. The seasoned leader gets insights on AI ethics from a Gen Z hire, while the younger person learns about navigating complex stakeholder relationships.
It breaks down silos.
And builds empathy, promotes real inclusion. It's honestly a strategic must-have for diverse teams today.
And speaking of today's world, mentoring in a digital world, virtual is the reality for so many. How do we make that work without losing the connection?
That's a key question Bickerstaff addresses, because while you might lose the spontaneous hallway chat,
Those chance encounters.
virtual opens up incredible access across geography, time zones, connecting people who'd never otherwise meet. But he's clear. It requires even more intentionality.
More deliberate effort.
Definitely. Scheduled, regular check-ins, maybe even more frequent if shorter. Clear, agreed-upon goals. Smart use of shared digital tools, video, chat, shared docs. He suggests creating little virtual rituals.
Like a regular 15-minute sync or something?
Exactly. To maintain that consistency, that presence, his main point is technology can't replace human connection. But used well, it can enhance and extend it.
Especially in remote or hybrid settings, maybe it's even more important.
Arguably, yes. It becomes crucial for fostering that sense of belonging, fighting isolation, and reinforcing purpose when you're not physically together.
It sounds like all of this creates a really powerful long-term impact. That ripple effect you mentioned, it seems like it could go on for years.
Absolutely. Bickerstaff talks about it beautifully. One leader invests, that person pays it forward. You create this expanding web of empowered professionals.
And these relationships, they might just be for a specific project or challenge.
Right, for a season.
Yeah.
Or they can genuinely last a lifetime, profoundly shaping careers, even industries. You talk to highly successful people.
And they almost always point back to key mentors.
Almost always. People who believed in them, guided them at critical moments. It really does shape careers, organizations, communities. It's leadership in its most sort of human form.
That's a lovely way to put it.
And here's a really empowering takeaway from his work. Everyone can mentor. This isn't just for the C-suite.
You don't need the fancy title.
Not at all. You don't need decades of experience. What you need is some time, genuine care, and just a willingness to show up and share what you have learned from your unique path.
Everyone has something to offer.
Every single person has lessons learned. And just as importantly, there's always someone who could benefit from that insight, that encouragement, that hand forward.
Think about people like Bill Campbell in Silicon Valley.
The coach, yeah.
Yeah.
Mentoring Jobs, Bezos, Schmidt, incredible impact. Or Oprah Winfrey, Michelle Obama, Maya Angelou, figures known for lifting others.
It shows the reach is just immense.
Vast and powerful, way beyond formal roles.
Okay, so bringing this all together, if we were to distill the top takeaways from George Bickerstaff's work on this based on our dive today.
Let's try. 5 key things, maybe.
Sounds good. First, I'd say mentorship is absolutely essential for leadership, and it's a strategic investment, not just a nice optional extra.
Agreed. Second, great mentors listen strategically, they challenge constructively, but ultimately empower others to find their own way.
Third, actively developing others builds that crucial organizational resilience, boosts innovation, and secures the cultural legacy.
Fourth, remember the variety. Mentorship isn't just one thing. Traditional, peer, reverse, group, they all offer unique value, especially now in our diverse digital world.
And fifth, maybe the most important, everyone has the power to mentor. You don't need permission or a title, just time, care, and that willingness to share your experience starting right now.
Perfectly summarized. And maybe a final thought to leave our listeners chewing on.
Please.
Bickerstaff might suggest that the real measure of a leader isn't just how far they get, but how many people they successfully bring with them on the journey.
That hits home.
So the question for you listening isn't just, am I ready to mentor? Maybe the more immediate question is, who around me right now could use that little bit of support, that hand forward? How can I pay it forward or maybe even seek guidance myself using some of these ideas.
A powerful call to action indeed. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the incredible power of mentorship. We really hope you'll reflect on these insights.
Consider how they apply in your own life, your work, your community.
Absolutely. Till next time, keep learning, keep growing, and definitely keep lifting others.